it's kind of, I mean, it is kind of a black box, isn't it? Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's editorial work. So in order to, like, if we talk about how do I get onto a big Spotify or a big Apple Music playlist, there are editors in the different markets that are deciding, like in radio, what they want to put on rotation or put onto their bigger playlist. And obviously they have a lot of different playlists. So how do you get in touch with them? That's actually not that easy. Usually they restrict dialogue to talking to the big distributors of the major labels. So I think the first thing you probably need on that front is there are some independents that offer that they can do it, some more so than others, but you do need someone, either a distributor that has a team that will actually pitch your songs to the playlist, or you need a bit of luck. Sometimes artists do simply get picked. You can, you've got Spotify for artists. You can submit and pitch your track for the playlist as an artist as well. I have no idea how it works. I mean, with the amount of tracks that are submitted every day, like, I think one thing you can do for yourself is, I mean, don't submit your song for distribution any later than 6 weeks before, because otherwise there's no chance on earth that they will ever get to listen to it. Don't be too late. You can upload it 2 weeks before release, but then you're kind of excluding the chance to get on playlists. And then also, obviously, it's not the holy grail. I mean, I think on Spotify it can even be like challenging sometimes if you land on a New Music Friday, which has so many different genres. People might skip it because they just like it, and then you get a bad algorithm, and then you're never going to get on any playlist again, and you get suppressed. So it's also, with all that kind of data, it is like sometimes it's also like you need to be on the right playlist, not just any playlist for the sake of getting on one, but if you really want to benefit from it as an artist. And I don't know, also you see that in tour PR as well. Even though an artist has a lot of streams, it doesn't mean they have a lot of fans. It can also just be very radio-ish that people listen to the track. It's a nice background track. Maybe sometimes it can even be random because you need to pick your battles. So like if you really get a strong potential partner in any given region that really believes in the band or the artist and want to, invest their time, maybe even resources in working with you, probably not a bad place to start. Obviously there are markets that are on paper more attractive because they're big and they're wealthy, so which historically, has always put the UK and Germany and these kind of markets on the front. And you can say some regions are difficult, like Scandinavia is difficult because extremely domestic music consumption dominates those markets. So there's not a lot of space for import anyways, and that is already quite dominated then by the Anglo-Saxon artists. So there's not a lot of space, and then you've got a big territory with small markets that don't even work together. So it's actually a lot of tiny markets. Those are kind of places where maybe you really need a good reason, I think, to prioritize that to begin with at least. But I think in general, like you have to go with, what makes sense logistically and resource-wise, and where you have the possibility to have someone that helps you and backs you. And obviously you need to look at what's happening in the different marketplaces. Are there any places in Europe right now where this kind of music has got more of a hype? So for example, in Germany that traditionally very British-sounding rock bands are not doing as well here as they are in Spain or Italy or in Southern Europe. The Germans are more towards, if you say rock music, they're more towards Foo Fighters and Nickelback than they are towards Oasis and Blur. That's just the way it's always been. So then if you sound quite British, maybe you should actually look at England and not at Germany to start with, if you're talking about the big markets. Because there's more of a boom for this kind of music. But if you've got this very American rock sound, then maybe it's not the worst place to start in Germany. So I think there are things like that, and obviously you have trends going on as well, So again, you really have to look and do a bit of your own research. Look at the bands that inspired you and how they're doing in other places, and try to figure out if you don't have, because you're right, it's a good question, because sometimes you don't have any hype, because why should anyone know you? So then you're kind of like putting your finger in the wind and trying to figure that out, and obviously you can supplement that with a bit of facts, But I think it comes with a realistic understanding of who you are and what you can achieve. I also think artists need to realize that they have to be happy with small steps. It's a long and expensive process to export, so maybe ask yourself the question, are we willing to spend 3 years touring 100 to 200 days a year earning nothing in order to reach that point where it turns around? And if the answer is no, then maybe you should start in the first place.